Hey everyone, and welcome to TopThink. Today we're going to learn 13 spooky facts about your subconscious mind. Now let's begin. Number 1. Mental specs. How much information can your brain store at any given time? Well, after movies like Limitless and Lucy, you might think your mind has infinite possibilities. The human brain is often called one of the most complex structures in the universe. Yet you still manage to lose your keys or forget someone's name even after meeting them a dozen times. So what exactly is our brain capable of? If it were a computer, what would be your mental specs? The average brain has about 100 billion neurons. Each one connects to about 10,000 other neurons, resulting in 10,000 synapses per cell. Every synapse passes electrical signals around the brain, which basically tells your body when to do stuff. Now, it might help to think of each synapse like one data point. Every signal is basically a 1 or a 0. In total, that's about 1 quadrillion ones and zeros. In other words, your brain works as fast as a computer that processes 1 trillion bits per second. And we haven't even talked about memory. A few years ago, neuroscientists figured out how many bytes your brains can actually hold. It turns out it can contain up to 1,000 terabytes of data. That's 100 times the size of the U.S. Library of Congress. Now, of course, most of that power is hiding below the surface. About 95% of your brain activity is completely subconscious. So the next time you lose your sunglasses when they're sitting on your head, remember that you've got way more going on up there than you realize. Number 2. Absorbing data. Do we really need all that power? How much of your brain does it actually take to process the world around you? You've probably heard that you only use 10% of your brain, but is that really true? Any neuroscientist will tell you it's not. We use the vast majority of our brains on a daily basis. We're constantly jumping from hemisphere to hemisphere, lobe to lobe. Now, of course, that doesn't mean each part of our brain is always performing at its best. Every second, our subconscious takes in around 2 million bits of data. That sounds like a ton, but remember that our subconscious is capable of processing 1 million times more than that. While our conscious is usually working in overdrive, our subconscious can handle just about anything you can throw at it. Number 3. Cognitive randomness. Have you ever been sitting at home watching TV when some person that you hated years ago randomly pops into your head? To your conscious mind, these thoughts come out of nowhere, and sometimes they do, but not every random thought is completely meaningless. Neuroscientists call these intrusive thoughts. They tend to infiltrate your mind when you're zoning out. Some are weird and goofy, like wondering how dogs would wear pants. Others can be dark and creepy. Even if some disturbing mental image shows up right before you fall asleep, it doesn't mean you're a terrible person. Everyone's mind wanders to strange places, but there's only one reason to take them seriously. If you find yourself having the same thoughts over and over again, your subconscious is trying to send you a message. Number 4. Hates questions. Your subconscious doesn't like to ask questions. It isn't designed to analyze or have opinions. It's often compared to a computer or robot because in many ways it acts like one. As important as our subconscious is, we would be an absolute mess without our consciousness. We need that part of our brain to make us rational, analytical, and objective. Number 5. Subconscious symptoms. Sometimes your subconscious mind speaks through your body. When it's feeling frustrated or distressed, it stimulates all kinds of physical symptoms. You might notice a rash or pimples pop out of nowhere, or maybe your joints start randomly aching. These are some of the most commonly misdiagnosed symptoms because there's no illness involved. It's all your subconscious. Remember that your subconscious controls pretty much everything in your body. So when it's stressed, many of those automatic functions start going off the rails. For example, your brain might subconsciously tighten your abdominal muscles or stop producing digestive hormones. Both cause stress-induced stomach aches. Yet people are way more likely to blame something they ate. Number 6. Imaginary danger. Your subconscious has a hard time distinguishing between what's real and what's imaginary. A study from the late 90s tested this by asking two groups of people to play the piano. The first group actually touched the instrument, while the second just imagined they were playing. After scanning the participants' brains, researchers discovered that the subconscious couldn't tell the difference. It reacted the same way to the imaginary notes as it did the real ones. But no one in the second group actually believed they were playing the piano. So, how do we tell the difference? This is where your conscious comes into play. It analyzes all of the information your subconscious takes in and then decides what is and isn't real. Now, of course, our conscious can't always make a clear distinction, which is where fear and anxiety come from. Imagined danger can be terrifying because your subconscious reacts like it's really happening. When your conscious brain sees your body freaking out, it sometimes gets fooled into thinking you're really in danger. Number 7. Unresolved fatigue. When life is moving a million miles an hour, even 8 hours of sleep might not feel like enough. You might notice yourself being less productive or having a harder time concentrating. The quality of your work may start to suffer. Try as hard as you want to fix it, but no amount of conscious effort can fix this subconscious issue. You feel drained like this when there's a deeper unresolved problem. While your conscious mind is trying to be productive, your subconscious has been working overtime. It's exhausted from trying to keep that issue from affecting your daily life. The only solution is to take a break and focus on your mental health. Our brains aren't designed to work 24/7. Some of the most ambitious people work through the pain by stuffing their problems deep down. But those issues can and will leak back into your conscious mind, leaving you feeling cloudy and tired. Number 8. Subconscious repetition. Your brain absorbs massive amounts of information every single day. To make sense of it all, it needs some way to differentiate between things that are important and things that are extraneous. Repetition is one of your brain's most useful tools when deciding what to pay attention to. It's actually pretty simple. The more you perceive something, the more priority it gets. This rule applies to everything from people to subjects in school. Affirmations are one of the best examples. Now, at first, they don't do anything because your subconscious doesn't really take them seriously. But each repetition reinforces the idea. Your brain starts to dedicate more and more space until finally the affirmation is important enough to change your behavior. But repetition isn't just for the healthy things in life. Repeated fears are often way more terrifying because those negative emotions are ingrained in your subconscious. You might tell yourself you're not scared, but your subconscious will quickly tell you otherwise. Number 9. The power hours. Unlike your conscious mind, your subconscious doesn't go to sleep when you do. In fact, it does more work when you're down for the count. Your subconscious uses those 8 hours to catch up on all the processing it couldn't do during the day. So while you're lost in dreamland, your subconscious is wide awake. This is one of the main reasons why our dreams tend to contain memories and information stored in our subconscious. While you're sleeping, your subconscious mind has full control, so your dreams are often a blend of automatic thoughts. Most of the time, they're just random slices of your imagination. But sometimes you can learn new things about yourself that your conscious mind would never discover. Number 10. Cognitive chunking. Since our subconscious is constantly handling huge volumes of data, it needs some way to organize everything. Because our conscious might need it at a moment's notice, it isn't going to sit around waiting for our subconscious to make sense of it all. So our subconscious uses a time-saving strategy called chunking. Chunking is when you group similar pieces of information together in your memory. The closer they are, the easier they are to remember. Think of it like the search bar in any search engine. When you start typing, it shows all kinds of shortcuts to related searches to speed up the process. In other words, your subconscious makes a habit of telling you what to think before you think it. Number 11. Premature development. One of the biggest reasons why children act so innocent is because they haven't developed the kind of consciousness that adults use every day. Instead, they're primarily using subconscious functions. This means they can't do things like distinguishing between real and imaginary. You see, most of our consciousness doesn't develop until we're around 9 years old, but our subconscious grows the most from 2 to 7. In other words, you spent the first decade of your life doing whatever your subconscious told you. Number 12. Living in the present. Your conscious has no problem thinking back to the past or picturing the future. Your subconscious, on the other hand, isn't nearly as flexible. It's constantly focused on living in the present. It'll always lean toward actions that are going to help you right here and now. Sometimes that can be a good thing, but more often than not, you need your conscious to give you some sense of perspective. Number 13. Speech deficiency. Your subconscious doesn't communicate in the same way your conscious does. It can't really use words because it doesn't have a verbal processor. Your subconscious relies on images and feelings to get its message across. This is another reason why the subconscious is easiest to understand when you're dreaming. After a dream, you often can't make much sense of what happened, yet somehow the emotions seem clear as day. Thank you for watching TopThink, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.